morning, and yeah, two more ladies to join me, and I am now going to interview the gorgeous Victoria Marie, who is an American filmmaker. And for any grey-haired, silver-haired women that are struggling to embrace their grey hair now, then this is definitely going to be the interview for you. I'm so excited to be able to interview Victoria, because she is the filmmaker of Grey is the New Blonde, and I had the privilege of watching that documentary last week, and I honestly was cheering at the women that were there celebrating their grey hair. So this interview has been just so, I was so looking forward to it. I've had so much support about it, and people have been really excited to listen to what Victoria's got to say. So I'm going to get Victoria in the room now.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, I'm just getting myself so you can see me.
Hello, gorgeous.
How are you? How do you feel? You must be exhausted.
You know what? It's been such a lovely day, Victoria, because the women that I've talked to have all been so inspiring that it has gone so quickly. I can't believe how quickly the day's gone.
Really? Wow. Because I was thinking by now you'd be just pooped. But good.
Well,
I'm glad and energized.
I've got jaw ache from smiling so much, so that's a good sign.
Good. Well, it's nice to meet you, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm delighted.
An absolute pleasure. I've heard so much about you beforehand, and obviously we've only connected fairly recently, and then I watched the documentary. So for people that don't know anything about you, how do you introduce yourself and what you've been doing?
All right. My name is Victoria Marie, and I am an actress, writer, filmmaker, model, kind of all grouped in together, because in the entertainment industry here in the US, you're just usually, unless you are a George Clooney, you're doing multiple things. You're just not an actress or an actor. The majority of us do multiple things. And as such, the majority of what I do is filmmaking for this film, which I've worked on. So now it's going on 6 years. It was February of 2015 that I determined this is what I would have to do for my new fledgling career as an actress in the entertainment industry. And so that's kind of when it got started. And it's just grown from there. Many people have said it has contributed so much to their life, and in some cases changed their life. It's changed my life. Doing this film, you never really know what you're getting into until you're in it. Yeah. And when I first started, I naively thought, oh, I'll get this out in a year. I was going to just get it done. And yeah, oh, yeah, right. It took me 5 years.
Wow, that's dedication.
And well, once you get going, it's like there were so many times I just thought, what am I doing? I need to stop this, because you just don't, I've never done a film before, excuse me, and I probably will never do another film. But I just knew that this was needed for my career. And so it was easy to pick the subject matter, because I had done a very short little YouTube video in the summer of 2013 about my own transition from the very last time that I dyed my hair, which was for work purposes, which was the Christmas 2012. And after that, I realized I made a mistake. And I do want to say, most women who cave, they start the process, they're like, oh no, I can't deal with this. I'm getting too much negative pushback from family and business associates and God knows who else. And I just don't like the way I look. I'm not ready for this. And they dye it, and 9 times out of 10, and it's the perfect thing that's needed, they realize, oh my goodness, what have I done? I have covered all my beautiful beginnings of silver, and now I don't like it anymore. But it's needed because it's the very thing that makes you steadfast in your decision. This is right for me at this time in my life. Yeah. And regardless of all the negative pushback, because the majority of women, that's what they receive, which you saw in the film. There was a big segment, and it's so unfortunate that people have such negative comments to women straight to their face. We would never do that on, like, for instance, a lot of people gained weight during COVID because we were home doing nothing. Would we ever walk up to someone we know or even don't know and say, oh, you've gained some weight. You need to get that weight off. Not even your closest friends who you want to have tell you the reality of what they need. We don't want to hear this. It's impolite at the very least. You're not so rude, but not when it comes to a woman and her hair. Yeah. I will tell you the thousands of comments I have seen over the years in the private Facebook groups of people, even to this day, who have been subjected to other people's negative pushback, and sometimes from people they don't even know, who will just take it upon themselves to just say something. I'm always amazed at this, and the fact that people care so much. Why? And so as we go through this grave evolution of a woman deciding, not only am I not dyeing my hair, I also don't care what you think. The whole attitude towards women is starting to shift. I can tell you back in 2010, when I first got on Facebook, or 09, I can't remember, there was like one Facebook group, private group for women and their gray hair. And since then, it has just exploded. Yeah,
it really has. It feels like there's been a real revolution. And, you know, I know when I stopped coloring my hair, probably 6 years ago now. And even though a lot of the comments, when I put a post up one day, I had super short hair, it was a pixie cut, and I put a post up on Facebook saying, listen guys, to everybody on here, just let you know, I'm going to stop colouring my hair. I'm going to just go embrace it now. And even though there were jokey comments back in return, it was all negative. I think there was one lady that said, yeah, absolutely, go for it, I've embraced mine. Everybody else was, oh no, you know, you can't do that, you know, you're going to look older. And even if it was in a jokey way, it was still with that undercurrent of negativity. Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating how we do have this feeling that it's okay to be able to comment on another person's appearance and what they look like with their grey hair. It's like it's open game, isn't it? And it really shouldn't be.
And it's so rude. And the thing that I think most people don't realize is how sensitive women are to this, because it's a real leap of faith that we decide, okay, I'm done. And we're already unsure of this decision because of how we have been, all men and women and children, we have been brainwashed into believing that it's aging, that it's unattractive, it's going to make us look ugly. And the reality is, if you just go to my page, Gray is the New Blonde, you will see, it blows my mind. Picture after picture after picture of how gorgeous it is, how beautiful, and how younger. Most women look younger.
And actually, you know, I think they're all so different, but what strikes me is it's that feeling of empowerment. And actually, I felt liberated, and I felt like I really, for the first time ever, came into my own. And this was me, and I didn't have to pretend to be anybody else. And I have had my hair, you know, I've dyed my hair since I was 13. I had grey hair as a teenager. I've had my hair every colour of the rainbow. But for the first time, it was like showing up and saying, okay, well, this is me. And it was a huge part of me really embracing who I was in my 40s.
Right. And in fact, there's someone in the film, it was actually some B-roll from, I think it was AARP, where it's towards the end of the film, and the woman said, and she had that real short pixie with the glasses. Yes. She said, I've been every color in the rainbow, but this feels like me. And the one comment that almost every single woman said is they felt powerful and authentic. And those two adjectives go together, because you cannot have one without the other. When you feel this is who I am, it gives you this inner feeling of power and authenticity. And here I am, take it or leave it. And I think people respond positively to that over time, because they realize their viewpoints, they're not going to have an impact. So you've got to accept this. This is the new norm now. This is the new norm for all of us in COVID. And I think it's changed forever. Our lives have changed forever. It's the same thing. Women are just saying, this is the way it is. So get used to it, because we're here to stay. And just going back to all the photos, and I will say, what I'll do is share different photos from women from all over the world. And it really is striking how much better most of them look. And I want to say this. It doesn't matter what color your hair is if you're not going to take care of yourself. If you're not going to pull yourself together, whatever that version of you is, you could have the most beautiful coiffed, dyed hair, and you're still not going to look pulled together because you're not taking care of yourself. So the color of your hair does not determine whether or not you look old. It's how you present yourself to the world that determines how you look, if you look old or not. And you could look old when you're in your 20s because you're all, you're not presenting yourself in a pulled together manner, whatever version of that is for you. So hair color has nothing to do with looking old or not, or even your age, because obviously you and I are not in our 20s. We know this. But do we look vibrant? Yes, we do, because we're standing in our truth. We are authentic. We're doing what feels right for us at this time in our life, and we're not trying to relive our 20s. I wouldn't want to.
No, me neither.
I had a kick-ass 20s and 30s. I grew up in New York City, and let me tell you, I really enjoyed everything New York City had to offer. But that was then. This is now. And I honestly feel like I'm contributing so much more to society. And that's filling me up. That's filling my soul up to be able to make a contribution to, especially to women who this will outlive me and you and everyone who is in the film. And I think it's a great example for decades, for people 100 years from now to say, wow, this was real. This is what they went through, because there'll come a time when nobody cares about our color hair.
And I can't wait for that. We've had so much love for you. You guys look incredible. Thank you for being such huge role models for me. Thank you, Miranda, Araya. What a joy to listen to. So much love here. Susan Esco, Silver Models, joined us. Thank you so much,
Hi,
Susan. This is amazing. And thank you for introducing me to Victoria. I'm really appreciative. What's the kind of pressure like in America? Because I think there is differences in the pressure that you have around ageism, for instance, and the way women look in America. Do you think it's different to the British in your experience?
So, okay, to answer honestly, I couldn't answer because I don't really know what is the culture like compared to here. What I can tell you is we're very criticized here. And it seems more of the criticism comes, unfortunately, from other women.
Yeah.
Generally, men like it. And you saw in the film where she did that social study that just to see, by placing her both dyed and gray hair on the different dating platforms in the different cities, and unequivocally. And that was many years ago now. That book is maybe came out in 08 or 09 or something along those lines. And so it just shows you, men don't see the color as being a detriment. And the few that do, they're the 60-year-olds who want the 20-year-olds. we don't want them anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And my heart breaks for the woman who's married to the man who says, no, don't do it. And she really wants to. But in marriage, we make compromises. I cannot speak to that. I'm not married. And if I were, I would probably say, too bad, I'm doing it anyway. But I'm not married, so I can't really say that for sure.
But why is it? So why is it?
Just my personality. What?
Why is it that men are silver foxes? So you have the George Clooney's that are meant to be fantastic as silver foxes, but then you see a woman with grey hair that's in the same arena, and they get classed as being letting themselves go, or they're too old for a part because they've got grey hair. Why is there such a difference between the attitudes between men and women?
And that is the question I have asked myself since day one, because it infuriates me.
Me too.
Why is it good for them? And I set out to change that narrative, and slowly it is changing. And it really comes down to the marketing to women from the hair coloring companies. It really comes down to that. Because as far back as the late 1800s, women were starting to see ads saying, basically, if you have gray hair, you're going to lose your life. You're going to lose your friends, your job, your husband. So don't ever let that gray come through. And then so that marketing did some, but it wasn't until, was it the 60s, that Clairol had a real marketing blitz to really propel us to believe and compel us that gray hair needs to be hidden. And they blitzed us. I mean, with enough marketing, we'll end up believing anything if you think about it. And so we started to really see this. So it was at that time, the ads and so forth, women were subjected to in the late 1800s, all the way until the 50s or 60s, when that marketing blitz really hit. And by then we had more outlets for advertising versus the late 1800s. Obviously we had TV. But it was then that women really started to agree with this whole, oh yes, I need to dye my hair. And by then we were past the 1920s of the, women not really having any money to do anything because of the Great Depression, at least here in the States. And so it was by the time the 50s and 60s started to roll around, women were starting to feel a little more liberated. Then we had the sexual revolution in the 60s. So it was like in the 70s. So we were starting to feel better about ourselves, but God knows, don't let that gray show. And the marketing, Clairol marketing, they were right there to make sure we said, yeah, we're not going to let that gray show. All right, well, we've had enough of that shit. So
yeah, the times are changing. The times are changing, that's for sure. There is a real movement now of women that are coming together and saying, do you know what, I'm going to do my own thing. And that's really exciting, I think.
And I think what's happening also is by a woman embracing who she is in her soul, and it's really much more than just about the hair. But when she starts really embracing that, she starts to discover other parts of herself that were perhaps repressed. Women are starting new careers. You're a model now. I don't know what your history is prior. They're starting all these new careers because they're kind of like, oh, I feel really good about myself. What else is there left to do in my life before I reach 100 or whatever and I'm done? Yeah. So we want to make the most of the next 40 years or 30 years by doing something that really resonates with us. And I think that also what we're seeing is more and more women saying, no, I'm not just going to fade in the background and start knitting and waiting. No, we're not doing that.
So what's next for you? What would you like to do next then?
All right, I'm going to make an announcement.
Yes.
All right. I, prior to COVID, I had all these big plans for Gray is the New Blonde. We were going to go on this 18-city tour. It was going to be fabulous. Then I was going to do this and that. I was going to pitch a television show for reality television show. Like, I don't, and boom. You know what happens when you make plans? Life. Right?
Yeah.
Life happens. And so I had to figure out, okay, now what do I do? I couldn't do any of that. Yet the movie was so well received, I couldn't just shelve it. I had to, what am I going to do now? So the couple things I did with the movie, just so the audience knows, I had to put it out to distributors, and there are different types of distributors. One distributor will put it into all the universities and the community colleges and the libraries. So that just happened in the last 30 days.
Amazing.
And, pardon me?
That's amazing.
I actually learned about the value to these universities and so forth, because even before the film was done, I had them reaching out to me saying, we're interested. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't even have any idea what that meant. Like, oh, I'll let you know when it's done. 3 years later, okay, it's done now. So I knew there was value in it. And I actually reached out to a distributor who's worldwide. So it wasn't something where I just went to that school and said it's done now. I enabled a worldwide distributor to basically take it. They do what they do, and then I collect my quarterly payment whenever that starts to happen. So I don't know. I'll just, when it happens, it happens. But we had to sign a contract and everything. So it took time because I am a contract reader. I don't just sign, girlfriend. I read every single word. I make changes.
Yeah, it's your baby. It's all your sweat and hard work. You need to make sure.
Yes. She is in my DNA. Okay. Then the other thing I did, and then I'll tell you the announcement. I then put it in with a distributor here in the States called Film Hub. And basically they put it out to, gosh, hundreds of channels I've never even heard of. One of them being Amazon Prime. So audience, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yay! That's amazing.
But they switched it over because IMDb TV owns, or Amazon owns IMDb. And I think that's also owned by Google. I don't know, it's all, but the bottom line is they switched it over to IMDb TV. And at some point, I think it's going to start to have commercials. What can I do?
Yeah.
A lot of people ask about Netflix. Netflix is the behemoth, and Netflix typically wants to do their own content unless I had some big name attached to it, who's like maybe Jane Fonda, who's now a Silver Sister.
Yeah.
I don't have Jane Fonda in my movie, so I don't think Netflix is going to come calling. And if they did, I would not release this baby of mine to Netflix unless there was some good dollar amount behind it. A lot of filmmakers will just give it for free. No, I'm not doing that. I work too hard, and it's too much of a powerful, meaningful film to too many women. I would never give it away for free.
Yeah. So how can people watch it in the UK? So can they go to Amazon Prime?
I'm pretty sure they can, because I know it's like 8 different countries. All right, so that's what happens. That's what's happening with Gray is the New Blonde. There's a lot of other stuff, but that's like the big stuff, because right now that's where I had to go with it instead of all these plans. But from there, I'm thinking, what do I do now? That was my work, my livelihood for the next several years. Yeah. So I decided, and this was based off a lot of thinking, and this is the announcement, because I've been kind of pushing this, like, no, I don't want to tell anybody for months now. I thought, what can I do that's going to continue in this space and still allow me to have an income? And I started realizing, based on all the conversations I've had in many of the private groups, most of us we're now like, okay, what kind of hair care products and shampoos and what color makeup and clothes? How do I put this all together now? Because what worked for my dark hair, because I used to have almost black hair. Yeah. What worked for my almost black hair, whatever color she has, is no longer working. I need to figure. And so I've decided to put together, which is a huge business here in the States, and I think it's growing worldwide, a subscription box business exclusively for women with gray and silver hair. And it's going to be filled only with certified leapingbunny.org cruelty-free products. Animals are extremely important in my world. I have animals at home, and the welfare of animals is growing with me, and what happens on farms. And so it has to be cruelty free, because now we have so much technology. There is no reason.
There's no reason.
And that just hurts me so bad. I can't even tell you how bad it hurts me. So it's going to be the only cruelty free subscription box for women with gray and silver hair, certified. And I won't take PETA. PETA, it's not good enough for me. It has to be certified. When it's by Leaping Bunny, and I think in the UK it's something similar, it means that they do independent audits, they do third-party testing, they don't fool around. So this is and I want to introduce these small brands that don't have the marketing dollars of L'Oreal, and they can't get seen. And so that is what I want to present to the people who love the movie. And now they're like, what am I going to do with all this new hair color and my skin and my eye? How do I put this together? Yeah. And it's literally going to be with the hair care products, but also with some accessories, which is the exciting part, to pull the whole look together. And you know what? It's not just a box. It is a lifestyle, because this presents a whole new lifestyle. When we grow out our silver gray hair, we become almost a different person.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Well, I think it's about finding out who that person is, which is exciting.
Yes, exactly. So that's my announcement. And
well done. That's exciting.
And I'm going to make a short video right after we're done, since I got all this happening today, because I don't normally do all this. I'm going to make a video and put it on, because I already have the Instagram page. It's called the Silver Hair Box. And if you go, you'll see the silver hair box, not but silver hair box on Instagram. I got one little post up there. So I'm going to start making more posts, and people can kind of follow along as I start to get ready to launch.
Brilliant. You know what I love? I love the fact that you created this. You had this vision to create the documentary. You made the film, which has taken you, years to get to where it is now. And then you're taking this on another journey now to getting out these boxes, the subscription boxes. You don't know where it's going to lead to when you start something, do you?
No, you don't. I'm sure you didn't as well.
Right.
I'm really curious. I know we don't have much time, but I just would love to hear a little bit about your story. Like, what did you do before, and how did you get into modeling? And
so in my 20s and 30s, I kind of didn't really have a massive career mapped out at all. I did lots of retail work, but didn't really, I didn't have I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I kind of did lots of retail work and management work in my 20s and 30s. And then when I had my 3 children, I had them close together. So I spent quite a few years at home, because at one point I had 3 of them under 4. So I decided to be at home for a while, which was lovely. It was a really special time. And then as they started to get older, I got to 39, and actually I split up with my husband, and we got divorced when I was 40. And I'd been with my husband from being 16 to 39. So
basically,
yeah.
You
So
grew up with him.
Yeah, so from 40 onwards, I had to take this new journey to find out who I was. And I went to university and got a degree in education studies and was going to go and do teaching. And I worked with early years teachers, so sort of 0 to 3 years old. So I really loved that. And I was going to carry on. That's what I had planned. I thought I was going to just be teaching for the next 20 years. And I would have absolutely loved it. And I was enjoying it. And during this period of time, a friend had volunteered me to join in a Macmillan fashion, a local cancer charity fashion show. So I volunteered for that and I really loved it. And I've done it now for 10 years for them. And each year I did it, my confidence grew. And I got comments from people saying, have you thought about modelling? And I kind of didn't think about it for 4 or 5 years because I hadn't got my confidence at that point. I was building it still. And then I got to 45 and I had stopped colouring my hair and I had a super short pixie cut. So I was very lucky. It took months to grow out. It wasn't like a long journey that I know.
Right.
And then I thought, well, actually, what have I got to lose? So next time when the photographer and people said, are you going to try it? I thought, well, actually, yes, I will. So I sent off photos to model agencies across the country and got a London agency and then carried on ever since. And I would never have had the confidence to do this in my youth. No, I really wouldn't have done. So I love the fact that I'm doing it now. And now the fact that, I still I can't believe that I'm modelling lingerie and swimwear in my 50s. And I love this newfound body confidence that I've got. And it's a real journey.
Right. I think the confidence, because I've experienced it myself, I think back to my 20s and 30s, especially my 20s, I would never have had the confidence, and I did not, that I have now. And I think the confidence grew as I grew my career and I started to really delve into the gray hair market and just become really involved. And then my journey, it's like you lose the hair color, but you gain confidence, right? You stop coloring the hair, but in return, you start to feel more confident about yourself and who you are. And I see that comment a lot from women who say, I didn't expect it to be more than just about my hair color. I thought it was going to be, I'm just going to grow it out and that's it. And in actuality, I learned it's way more about what's going on the inside than the hair color.
Exactly.
And don't you feel like you just want to tell every woman who says, no, it's not for me, I'm going to continue to color my hair. You just want to say, wait, but you just got to experience this to know what I'm talking about. And I think you will agree that you just don't even know the amount of power and confidence you feel once you're transitioning and you're like, I'm a badass, aren't I? And that's how you start to interact with the people around you, because this is me, girl. And you just start to feel good about yourself, and then people respond differently to you because of that confidence.
It's all on the inside. It is all on the inside. That's the thing. Yeah. It's the working on the inside that portrays it out, and I think that's fantastic.
Yes, yeah. For sure.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm
thank you
so glad we have connected. How can people find out more about you then, Victoria? Where can they come and look you up?
All right, so Instagram, obviously, Gray is the New Blonde, and I think in the bio, there's a link to the website. There is my own personal page, which is not as prolific, which is just basically victoriamarie.ig. And then my new IG page, Silver Hair Box, which has my one little post.
Well, good luck with that. I'm sure it'll be amazing.
What?
Good luck with that. I think it'll be amazing.
Thank you so much, and good luck with you too with this. I hope it evolved into everything you wanted it to be, and I really appreciate you inviting me.
Lovely. So thank you so much, and I can't recommend the documentary enough. Please go and have a look on Amazon Prime. Thank you. Sending you lots of love.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.